Good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everyone doing this morning? I hope that you guys had a great night's rest. I hope that you have had your coffee like I'm having this morning if you need it. We had a crazy start to our morning. My little overslept, and so we had to get things popping and it literally threw my morning off. So if you saw my post that said we were supposed to go live at 9, I apologize. We had to push it back an hour because yes, our morning was a little bit crazy. Special welcome to my IC Insider channel members. I love you guys. We are growing as a family, as a community. So I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for choosing to become a member of Winter Womanland. I decided to expand some of my what I call winter wisdom chats in my members only community to my public community because I feel like y'all, this world is so crazy. It's just insane what's going on in our world right now. I feel like there's a lot happening. So for me, I'm like, I really think my community at large could use some inspiration and motivation. And so I was like, why not do like a great morning chat? And I'm going to do a variety of topics. I hope that you guys get something out of what I share when I do these chats. And then what I'm going to do is create a great morning chat podcast. And so you can find that playlist and go back and reference some of the things that I share potentially. But I do just want to make sure that this community is a place of encouragement, support, hope, healing, love, and good vibes. Like there is not enough goodness in our world. And I just want to share that. So our topic this morning is the grace to start over. And I've really been thinking a lot about this lately because oftentimes starting over can be the reason why a lot of us never start. I want you to think about that. The intimidation of starting over can be the reason why a lot of us don't start. It can be the reason why a lot of us don't leave situations that we know have already ran their course. It can be the reason why we stay at jobs that we know we've outgrown. It can be the reason why we stay in relationships that we know that we have no business in. But starting over can be an intimidating thing. And oh my gosh, how can I not say good morning to some of my people in the chat? I want to shout out before I continue because I don't want to forget. Good morning, Zane. You said you needed this topic this morning. I really do hope you get something out of it. Good morning, Sharon. Good morning, Stevie J, channel member. Welcome, welcome. Oh, good morning from South Africa. Good morning, good morning. Oh my gosh, welcome, welcome. Yes, change is hard. And I feel like I can speak on this topic because my life has been full of starting over. And I've learned that oftentimes we really just need to start over because it's what's needed to kick us in a gear and get us to do what we have always needed to do. This has been something that has been heavy on my heart in the last year, to be honest, because I've made a lot of changes. And sometimes I have been very slow to make those changes because I'm like, oh gosh, I don't want to start over. I don't want to do this again. And then when hey, good morning, Savannah. When life continues to life, the reality is I realized that starting over was just the thing that I needed to do. And so I've learned not to fear starting over as much as I feared staying stuck. How about that? I fear staying in places that I know that I have exhausted and the time has ran out. I fear staying in circles and environments that honestly keep me less than, that keep me bound, that keep me staying in a place of complacency, not exercising my gifts, not exercising my talents, not exercising the contributions that I know that God has put inside of me to share with the world. Good morning, Sean. And so, where are the times? If you guys can share with me in the chat, if you feel like sharing publicly, Can you think of some times where you knew you were feeling a nudge to start over? Can you think of a time where you know that you sat in a place too long because you feared beginning again? And I've often learned that the grace isn't in staying where we are all of the times. The grace is in actually having the courage to start over. I think about people who are in long-term relationships that are not necessarily growing and serving them and serving their purpose and serving the things that they have to offer to this world. I think about people who will never leave those situations because they are afraid of starting over. They are afraid of leaving what's familiar because the unknown is so intimidating and so daunting to think about that they would just rather stay where they're comfortable. They would rather just stay where they understand and they know the devil that they're dealing with. You've heard people say that. I would rather deal with the demons that I know than to deal with the devils that I don't know. And sometimes we make such a devil out of starting over that we trap ourselves in places that we have no business being, and we become a prisoner of our own inability to move forward. I tell women all the time, sometimes you got to make that move. Sometimes you got to be willing to leave what's familiar to find what's actually for you. Sometimes you got to be willing to walk away. You got to be willing to walk away from something that appears to be good, appears to be the best thing for you, appears to be all the things that you want. Let me tell you, illusion can really have us in places that we have no business being because it gives us the illusion of what we want. It gives us the illusion of what is right. It gives us the illusion of what will help us grow. It gives us the illusion of what feels good. Do y'all know how many foolish things I have stayed in or remained a part of because it gave the illusion of what was right for me? It gave the illusion of what I thought I wanted. When in essence, when I had the courage to be like, you know what, this illusion ain't what it is. Let me go ahead and move on. And yes, it may require that I start over. And yes, it may require that I start from scratch. Y'all, I'm doing this now real time. If I'm being completely transparent this morning, y'all are watching me navigate starting over real time. I made a decision to walk away because you know what? The illusion of what I thought was good actually was not good for me in the long run. It was good for a season, but let me tell you what you don't want to do. You don't want to overstay your welcome when seasons have changed. You don't want to overstay your welcome when that season has ended because you will find yourself being fruitless in seasons that are not meant to serve you any longer. You'll find yourself in negative, detrimental situations. I'll tell you guys a story. You guys know I love sharing stories. I can remember being fed up with a job I was in. And it was in the middle of COVID. The world was shut down. But y'all, everything that was wrong with this job was happening at 10 times the magnitude. And I said to myself, Winter, just hang on, just hold on. Like, I am literally going to be able to get through this. Just work through it, work with your boss, talk with your boss. Y'all, I kid you not. I had a conversation with my boss and she got worse. The work got more, like, it was just toxic. Literally, it was just toxic. And I kept feeling like, Winter, it's time to move on. It's time to quit. It's time to really launch into what you want to do. And I was fearful because I'm like, look, I was raised by Southern parents who believe that a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. And it was better to have a job than to launch out into the deep because I don't know what's out there. I don't know. Um, I don't really know if I can do it. I don't want to start over. Lord, if I take this leap, then I'm really going to have to start over. I'm really going to have to trust you. I'm really going to have to put myself out there. Y'all, I didn't do that because I was comfortable and complacent with the disrespect enough. As long as I was getting a check and that check was coming to me every 2 weeks, I was good with it. So I finally got the courage, y'all, to put in my notice. My boss says to me, Winter, can I get, hear me when I say this, and I'm not making this up. Can we get a 60-day notice? 60 days, y'all. She wanted me to stay for another 2 months. And I was really struggling during this time. And I said, okay, I can give you 60 days. When I tell you that next week, that lady made my life a living hell. A living hell. And I remember going home. I called my mom and I was in tears. And she said, Winter, why would you get a lady 60 days? Why would you agree to give that lady 60 days? Why? And I said, well, mom, it's 60 days and it'll give me time to kind of ease out. And she said, Winter, what are you feeling in your heart to do? Did you feel in your heart to give her 60 days? Or did you just give her 60 days because that's what she asked and that's what she needed? And I said, well, I just gave her 60 days, but I really feel like the nudge to go. She said, I would suggest that you write her an email and tell her that you're going to stick to your original plan of a 3-week notice. I initially gave her 3 weeks. She asked for 60 days. When I told her I was going to stick to my original 3 days, and I explained to her, I said, you have actually made the last week unnecessarily difficult for me, and I don't understand. And she said, well, we'll just take your 2 weeks. That's what she said. I said, okay, 2 weeks it is. Y'all, I left that position 2 weeks later, or a week later, because I'd already served 1 week. So another week, I left that job. This was in April. May rolls around. I launch out. This is when I launched my first masterclass. In May of 2020. We're in full-blown COVID at this point. I kid you not. As terrified as I was to start over, as terrified as I was to launch out into the deep, as terrified as I was to put myself out there, because y'all, it is an intimidating thing when you don't know how people will receive you. You don't know how people will respond to what you feel like you have to offer. And literally, y'all, in my first launch of a masterclass, I made 3 times what I made in a month. I got receipts 3 times just by refusing to allow myself to be scared to sit in what was familiar and what was comfortable, even though I was suffocating. I was being attacked every day. I mean, she complained and nitpicked every single thing I did, only for me to have the courage to finally stand up for myself and walk away and have such an incredible month. To this day, it is my largest selling masterclass. I ain't topped it yet. That masterclass served women all over this world to the tune of like almost 2,000 women, I think we ended up servicing by the time all was said and done. And we didn't even charge a lot for that class. I believe that masterclass was $25. We charged $25 for that masterclass. That masterclass made a lot of money. And that set me up for success over the next 2.5 years. Why am I sharing this morning? I don't know who needs to hear this. I don't know where you are. I don't know what you're dealing with. I don't know what's going on in your life. But if you are in a situation where you are feeling the pull, if you are in a situation where you are feeling the tug, there is grace for you to start over. Don't be afraid to walk away when you know it's time to walk away. Don't be afraid to be uncomfortable for a season. Seasons change. My dad always used to tell us one good thing, Wink, is one day the sun has to shine. The rain don't last always. And that's true. I have lived 42 years on this earth, y'all. And one thing I am convinced of is that the sun shines again, the rain does end, it gets better. And I think the only time that it doesn't get better is when we give up and we stop believing that better is possible. Good morning, Really BTV. Good morning, Lady B. Sometimes it's our season to be uncomfortable. Sometimes it's our season to start over. I remember making a decision to leave my marriage after 15 years, y'all. Do y'all think that was an easy decision to make? When my bills were paid, I was living a soft life. I had a maid, I had a nanny, I didn't work. Y'all think that was an easy decision to make? And when I sat in a hospital bed where I almost lost my life in 2014 because I was so stressed out because of what I was dealing with in our relationship and the level of disrespect I was living with, it was impacting my health so poorly that I ended up in a hospital for 2 weeks fighting for my life. And I begged God to save my life. And if He did, my promise to myself was that not only was I going to embrace forgiveness, I was going to embrace the courage to start over if I needed to. And one day I had to make that decision. And I had to find my courage to start over, y'all. I was terrified. I was 34 years old with 4 kids. No work experience for the last 10 years, even though I had a degree and I was going through grad school while I was going through my divorce. I was terrified because I didn't know anything else. These jobs didn't want to hire me. I didn't have any work experience. And I remember losing my apartment at the time because I was struggling to find a job and my alimony and child support was not enough. And my alimony was too much. Can you imagine? Your alimony and child support is too much to qualify for public assistance, but it's not enough to cover what I need to cover my living expenses. And I lost my apartment and I had to move back in with family. And for a year straight, me and my kids lived with my sister in her tiny apartment. Y'all, I slept on the floor on a mattress for a year. It took me a year. And one day I got a call from a company that said, we want to hire you. And this is the salary we want to give you. And y'all, I'll never forget getting my first 2 checks, being able to go out and put down on my first property. And I secured a townhouse for us, y'all. And we didn't have not a lick of furniture. I couldn't afford furniture yet. I packed up my kids because when I tell you, I love my kids down, they never complained. They never made me feel bad. Even though they were with their dad half of the time, they lived with me half of the time, y'all. Living with my sisters. They would go back and forth. They never complained. And when I was able to put down on that townhouse, baby, I packed up my kids and we slept on the carpet because it was our own house for the first time in over a year. And then by that end of the year, I was able to buy furniture. And little by little, every month, I furnished our house. Y'all, we lived in that house for 3 years until we moved here. And I'm telling you, as terrified as I was to start over, and trust me, I had to start over. And so for me, it was whew, such a sigh of relief when I got to the other side. And you guys have seen my my life. Many of you have seen my struggle, even on a national platform. But can I just tell y'all, nothing that I've been through in the 9 years that I walked away from that marriage have ever been to the degree that I would have preferred to stay in that toxicity. God has been so good to me in every up and every down. He has been so consistent. There have been times where I've had to walk away a lot of times since then. And God has always proved himself to me. When I decided to make a decision to walk away after a second marriage failing, do y'all think that I honestly would have thought that I would have been twice divorced? Not just once was enough, but 2 times. And the reason why I could confidently walk away a second time is because I knew that starting over was the best thing I could do. And that there was grace for me in starting over, and God had proven himself already. I did not fear starting over. Y'all, when I say that divorce ruined my platform because people were like, oh my God. Oh my God. How in the world could this happen to her? It devastated my following. When I tell y'all, I don't know how I paid my bills, but every month my bills were paid. And I didn't have to steal. I didn't have to rob. I didn't have to. God literally, when I tell y'all, people would, I can't even make this up. I can remember for like 6 months straight, I would get random cash apps. I mean, random. Sometimes they would be $50. Sometimes they would be $100. Sometimes it would be $1,000. And they would say, Winter, God put you on my heart. I just wanted to bless you. I just wanted to love on you. It's going to get better. You're going to be restored. I was so blown because I shared publicly what I was going through. People never knew that. And when I say leaving every single time has served me better than staying, y'all have no clue. I don't regret a thing. So I'm sharing that to say, y'all, sometimes your blessing isn't starting over. Your elevation isn't starting over. Your promise isn't starting over. The thing that you need isn't starting over. And it's having the courage to do so that we learn that God has grace for every season of our life, even when we got to walk away from things that we've put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in. Even when we got to walk away from things that people believe are best for us. Let me tell you, don't you ever let people convince you to stay in a place that you know is not right for you. Don't you ever let people try to convince you that walking away from something you know in your heart is not for you. Don't be, listen, people only go by what they see. A lot of times, people's perception and perspective are their truth. That does not make it your truth. Because unless they are with you 24/7, they will never know the demons you are dealing with intimately like you do. Don't ever let people convince you that staying in a place that they perceive as good is good for you. Sometimes starting over means you got to be willing to walk alone. Sometimes starting over means going through a season where you're dealing with people who believe that you're not making the right decision. Sometimes, sometimes starting over means that people are going to look at you upside your head and be like, I don't know that she's doing the right thing, but okay. Do y'all know how rewarding it is to walk away when the odds are stacked against you, only for down the road to turn around and be able to praise God because you're winning? To be able to show people better than what you can tell them. Sometimes it's not for us to tell people why we're starting over. Sometimes it's not our place to explain our reasons for starting over. Some things you just got to know deep down in your soul and be confident in and say, you know what? This was the best thing I could have done. And I know that making this decision is going to cause me a win down the road. Be confident in your courage to start over. Be confident in the decisions that need to be made that may be uncomfortable, may not get a lot of people that understand or support. But y'all, I listen, let me tell y'all what YouTube has proved to me. I can recall hearing from a friend of mine back in 2019, and she said, Winter, YouTube is the wave. I'm telling you. If you can leave Facebook and get on YouTube, that's where you need to be. And y'all, I tried, but I struggled to grow my audience. And I just gave up. About a year and a half later, I got back on YouTube. And she said, Winter, I'm telling you, stick with YouTube. That's where the wave is. And y'all, I stuck with YouTube. And because I started going through things, I gave up. That same woman that gave me that advice back in 2019, I believe is over 100,000 subscribers right now. This is the difference between fear running you and faith running you. And I'm the fear example in this story. I can't imagine where my platform would be if I had to press through my fear and been willing to work through the uncomfortableness and the challenges of starting over. I didn't want to lose my Facebook following and start over. That's really why this is why I didn't leap to YouTube all those years ago. I didn't want to start over. I tried and I'm like, I just would rather go back to where my following is already established. Now I'm back with a new mission in mind because it's like being willing to go through the season of starting over is sometimes exactly what we need to win. So now I have to be like, Lord, forgive me for not having the courage to start over all those years ago. And now I'm back to do what I really felt you were telling me to do all that time. And y'all have proved to me that I should have been here a long time ago. Y'all have proved to me that everyone has something valuable to offer, and all you have to do is be consistent and putting out that value. And if you build it, they will come. That's it. That's it. That's all. I have met so many incredible people over the last month and a half. I have connected with so many phenomenal content creators, but I needed to do my part. I needed to be willing to start over. There are people who are looking at me like, this girl done been on a national TV and now she on YouTube. Sure am. And baby, one of these days when I have 100,000 subscribers, I'll look back and say, baby, starting over was the best decision I could have ever made. I'm not sorry. When Winter Womanland is thriving and we're helping millions of women all over the world, millions of men all over the world embrace their greatness and live their best life and not be afraid to start over and not be afraid to go against the grain and not be afraid to be a disruptor and not be afraid to speak out when it's necessary, you won't have too much to say then now will you? And it's not about proving anything. It's like my grandma used to say, honey, the proof is in the pudding. You don't have to prove when the proof is being shown. You don't have to prove. Proof speaks for itself. And so sometimes we got to be like Nike and just do it. So I hope that some of you are like Nike and you just do it in your own life. Whatever this may apply to, if you need to start over today, I pray that you know that there is grace to start over. And that there is grace to begin again. And if you build it, they will come. I believe that there is a group of women that I am called to that have been overly religiousized. And I just made that word up. That ain't no word. Don't go look it up. It ain't in the dictionary, y'all. But I believe there is a group of women, there is an army of women just like me who have been overly religiousized, but still love God, that understand they're not perfect people. They've made mistakes, but that God is still for them. And that there is grace for how they go about each day, even if you're not perfect. And that you understand that your best is not just yet to come. And I don't understand why we tease people in church with everything being so futuristic. I don't believe that that is God's best for us. I believe that the best is not only to come, the best is here. Sometimes we focus so much on the future that we forget the goodness in our present. And this is what I believe was so powerful about contentment. Sometimes the best is here. The goodness is here. And yes, we can always improve, but tomorrow is not promised. And I would hate to think that I would die today not thanking God for the best that I experienced today. I would hate to think that I would close my eyes and not wake up and not even get to experience the best that I've been hoping for. Do y'all know how many people struggle with depression because they're always hoping for something better? Waiting for something better? Pining away for something better? There is beauty and contentment, y'all. My life is not where I want it to be. Life be lifing, right? Life be lifing. But I'm so grateful for where it is. And I'm so grateful for where it is not. Yes, I look forward to the future, but I'm so grateful that I am not in my past. Right? And I think we need to teach people to be more content and to find the goodness that is today. Find the good in today. Find the beauty in today. Can I leave you guys with a challenge this Thursday morning? I want you guys to embrace something good. And if you'll do me a favor, come back in the chat at some point today and drop what that goodness that you focused on is. I want you to come back to this post and say, Winter, I thought about what you said, and today the good in my life was blank. The good in your life might be that you didn't have to work overtime. The good in your life might be that you had enough money to put gas in your tank. The goodness might have been that your coffee was on point this morning, like mine is. Glory to God. Hallelujah. The goodness might be that you have a roof over your head. The goodness might be, do y'all know I saw Risa Tisa on TikTok? And I'm going to tell you, I rejoiced with her because I understand where she's coming from. This baby got on TikTok and she said, because of my courage to share my story, I can finally put all my bills on auto pay. Baby, if you don't know what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck and not be able to pay your bills on time, you don't understand how deeply personal it is to get on a TikTok and share that you can finally put your bills on auto pay. Yo, I sat there watching her TikTok. I'm not even going to hold you. I shed a tear for her. To be able to say, I can finally do that. So maybe that's you today. Maybe you can share, Winter, I was finally able to put my car note on auto pay. I was finally able to pay back somebody I borrowed money for. I don't know, whatever you want to share. I'm challenging you to come back to this post at some point and share a little bit of goodness that you found in today. That's my challenge. I hope you guys got something out of what I shared. You got something out of what I shared, and you believe somebody else can benefit from what I shared, please share the video. Make sure you don't leave the chat without liking it. If you're interested in taking any of my training courses, you guys are able to go to my website and sign up for them. I've launched a couple of new courses. If you're interested in personal life coaching, I do offer that. You can send me a message if you're interested. If you're in the DMV or close to the DMV and would like to attend any of my DMV events, please go to my website and grab your ticket. I would love to see you. But if you believe that anyone could benefit from this message today, share the video. I hope it encouraged you. I hope you enjoyed today's great morning chat, because I believe that mornings are great when we declare that they are great. I believe that our lives are great, that when we declare that they are great, they're great. I believe your life is whatever you say it is. Our words are very powerful. And so that's why we call it a great morning chat. Not a good morning. It's great. It's great because I said it is. I don't know what's going to happen next second, but it's great because I said it is. I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow at some point. Members only. I'll see you guys for our chat. I promised you guys a bonus members only session. So if you are an IC Insider channel member, I'll see you guys tomorrow for our bonus chat on Friday. I look forward to chatting with you guys. I hope to see you guys soon. If you haven't watched any of my latest videos, go check them out. Go check them out. Hopefully it can bring some cheer and some laughter. If you're struggling on today, I'm rooting for you. I love you. I don't have to know you to love you. I pray that if you're dealing with something challenging, that you experience God's goodness and grace, and that if you're waiting on an answer to a prayer, that you receive that answer swiftly and suddenly. I'll see you guys soon, and I'll see you on the next Great Morning Chat.